You know, one of the strangest things you discover in trading is this. The harder you try, the worse you do. The more effort you push into it, the more the market seems to punish you. And at some point, every trader looks up from their charts and asks, why does it feel like the more I grind, the more I lose? It doesn't make sense at first. Everywhere else in life, hard work is rewarded. Study harder, get better grades. Work harder at the gym, get stronger. Stay late at the office, climb the ladder. But in trading, it's almost inverted. The harder you push, the more the market pushes you back. And unless you understand why, you'll keep repeating the same cycle. Try harder, lose more, get frustrated, try even harder, lose even more. So let's break this down slowly, clearly, and honestly, because once you see what's actually happening under the surface, you can finally escape this loop. And in trading, escaping loops is everything. Let's start with something most traders never consider. Trading is the only profession where effort and reward do not have a direct relationship. Trading is not a labor-based activity. It's not physical work. It's not even purely intellectual. It's emotional performance under uncertainty. And here's the truth nobody likes to hear. When you try harder, you aren't improving performance, you're increasing emotional intensity. And emotional intensity is the enemy of good trading. Because when effort turns into tension, when focus turns into strain, when determination turns into desperation, your emotional brain steps in, and once the emotional brain takes over, the rational brain goes offline. In that moment, it doesn't matter how much trading knowledge you have. It doesn't matter how many strategies you've learned. It doesn't matter how many hours you've studied. Your emotional brain has grabbed the steering wheel, and your emotional brain has one job: survive, not perform. That's the first big contradiction traders must face. Harder effort doesn't lead to clarity, it leads to fight or flight. It leads to impulse. It leads to forcing trades. It leads to not accepting losses. It leads to revenge trading. Trying harder triggers survival mode. And survival mode is incompatible with probability-based thinking. In every other field, you've been rewarded for exertion, grinding, pushing, trying, controlling. Trading flips all of those upside down. Trading rewards stillness, patience, calm observation, waiting, letting go, non-attachment. These are not efforts that come naturally. These are emotional states, states that your old survival-based wiring does not like. Your emotional brain says, do something, fix it, make the loss go away, push harder. But the market doesn't care about your effort. The market rewards composure, not exertion. It rewards process, not force. It rewards discipline, not pressure. The harder you try, the more that pressure rises, and the more pressure rises, the more unstable your decision-making becomes. Now, let's talk biology, because this is where everything finally clicks. When you try harder in trading, what's really happening? Your emotional arousal increases. Your muscles tighten, your breath shortens, your heart speeds up, your body is preparing for danger, not opportunity, danger. Here's the key. Your emotional brain interprets uncertainty as a threat, not a puzzle. So when you strain harder, your brain releases chemicals meant for survival. Cortisol for fear, adrenaline for urgency, dopamine for overconfidence. All three distort your perception. All three push you away from probability and into impulsivity. This is why trying harder leads to jumping into trades too early, exiting too late, holding losers, chasing winners, overtrading, ignoring your plan, forcing outcomes, trying to make back money you just lost. Your emotional brain has taken over because the pressure you created has overwhelmed your rational brain. When you're trying hard, you're not actually trying to trade well. You are trying to avoid a feeling. Maybe it's the fear of losing. Maybe it's the fear of missing out. Maybe it's the fear of being wrong. Maybe it's the fear of not being good enough. Trying harder becomes a mechanism to run away from discomfort. And anytime you're running from discomfort, your emotional brain is driving. Trading becomes reactive, not intentional. Defensive, not strategic. Survival-based, not probability-based. This is the real reason. Most traders aren't trying to win. They're trying not to feel something, and the market punishes that immediately. Here's a truth you must swallow if you want longevity. You cannot control the market. You can only control the mind you bring to it. Trying harder is just a form of trying to control outcomes. Trying to make a trade work, trying to make back a loss, trying to force a setup, trying to avoid discomfort. But trading is a game with no guaranteed outcomes. The tighter your grip, the more the market slips through your fingers. This is why the best traders don't try harder, they try smarter. They adjust themselves, not the market. They regulate their emotions, not their entries. They create clarity, not pressure. They trust process over force. They're not grinding, they're aligning. If trying harder makes you worse, what do? You build the 3 emotional skills trading actually requires. And 1. Emotional regulation. Before analyzing the market, you learn to calm your physiological arousal. Because if you can't control your breathing, you won't control your thinking. If you can't control tension, you won't control execution. This is foundational. And 2. Mindfulness. This is the ability to step back and say, oh, look, that's fear arising. That's greed pulling me. That's impatience building. Without identifying emotional shifts, you can't manage them. Awareness is the switch that turns on control. And 3. Rebuilding your internal beliefs. Under every emotional reaction is a belief. And the majority of traders carry beliefs that completely sabotage their performance. Beliefs like, I must win. I can't lose. I need to make this back. I'm supposed to know what happens next. These beliefs trap you in emotional pressure. To trade well, you need a set of beliefs that thrive in uncertainty. I don't need to win this trade. I execute probabilities, not predictions. My job is process, not outcome. Losses are part of the system. These beliefs free you from the emotional intensity that destroys performance. Here is the strange, counterintuitive truth that every great trader eventually learns. You win more when you stop trying to win. Not because you're careless, not because you give up, but because you stop pushing emotionally and start executing logically. Winning comes from clarity. Clarity comes from calmness. Calmness comes from emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence comes from awareness. Trading is not the art of trying harder. It's the art of aligning your mind with uncertainty. Once you stop trying to control trading and start trying to understand yourself, the entire game changes. If you're trapped in the cycle of try harder, lose more, try even harder, lose again, it's not because you lack intelligence. It's not because you lack knowledge. It's not because your strategy is wrong. It's because you've been applying the wrong kind of effort to the wrong part of the problem. Trading is not a battlefield you fight with effort. It's a mirror revealing your emotional patterns, your beliefs, your fears, your impulses, your desire for certainty. And once you see that clearly, you can finally start trading from the only place that works: a calm, steady, probability-focused mind. Because in trading, the goal is not to try harder. The goal is to stop letting effort turn into emotional pressure and finally trade from clarity instead of chaos. That's when performance arrives. That's when consistency shows up. And that's when the whole game changes for you.